Thank you. Thank you for joining in for today's session on high performance leaders. Really respect when you join on time. Who are we? My name is Mahua Mukherjee. I am one of the co-founders of The Star in Me. The Star in Me is a global career advancement, learning, and reinvention platform for women professionals. And we are also the diversity partner with organizations. So, one of the ways we engage is where we bring you research from some of the best coaches, thought leaders across the world, and Michaela is one of them, and you're going to hear her on different topics which are very, very pertinent as we grow in our career leaders. Because one of the aims, one of the key themes that the Star in Me has is to build women leaders of today and tomorrow. We need more decision makers in the world to change the fabric of workplace landscape. So we really all need to work towards it. I would now love to introduce Michaela. Michaela is founder and CEO of Brain and Spa, an executive sparring. I just love the way you said the word sparring. The executive sparring and employee experience company, where they nudge visionary leaders to maximize their healthy high performance with the right structure and with more clarity, productivity, and passion. And we are going to hear some of it in today's session. She worked with Fortune 500 organizations around the world on digital strategies and organization change programs. She has also worked with several startups and corporate talents to prepare their mindset for the digital transformation and adjusting their business models to become more agile and purpose-driven organizations. Now, one of the most interesting elements about Michaela is she's a millennial serial founder. She already has, she started off 3 startups, and she was CEO and co-founder of 3 startups, and has immense experience as a corporate executive. She's a mompreneur, author, and also an university lecturer and professor for innovation and business models. And she's been doing this from an early age of 29. She's a member of the International Forbes Council and the International Society for Coaching Psychology. She holds an international business master's degree from Austria and a master's degree in coaching psychology from London. So amazing. A lot of accolades comes along with you, Michaela. Over to you, and really looking forward.
Thank you, Mahua, for the kind words, and thank you for the introduction, and thank you to all the ladies out there. I'm really looking forward to this session today. And as you can see on the slide, my name is Michaela Lindinger. I'm pleased to be together with you, even if it's virtual, but at least we are together here today. And in the next couple of minutes, I think we have like 30-45 minutes for that webinar. I would like to show you a little view behind the curtains of high performance leaders. Now, before we get started, I hope you all see the screen, right? So we are good on technology. Just give me a little yes in the chat if you're ready to go, and if you're all fast, you can see the slides, and if we're good to go. Okay. Okay, in terms of sound, there's somebody having a sound issues. The others are good, I assume. Okay, so yes, we are talking.
Yes, I think
Can you check?
I'll figure that out. You can continue. I'll talk to you.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I see lots of yeses there. So you ladies are ready to rock here. This is cool. Now, before we get started, I really want to recap like who this is really for. So this webinar is for women, for professional women, for entrepreneurs, but also for HR professionals or experienced female leaders who really want to shift gears and who want to achieve their personal high performance. If you bring dedication and positivism to the table here, you are definitely in the right spot. Now, in this webinar, what we're going to cover is basically how to create a very simple step-by-step game plan for turning your current 9-to-5, or maybe it's an 8-to-8 job that you're already doing, into a really exciting and rewarding lifestyle, despite all the digital challenges we all face as leaders these days. And I also want to cover with you how to really leverage your time in a way so that you can actually see change happening fast. And last but not least, how you can set up your life in a way that leaves more time for the things you love, your family, your friends, or whatever it is that you like to do, okay? So what's my promise for this webinar for you, ladies, today is that I will provide you with what I call a few behind the curtains of high performance leaders, and especially the mindset that they use for achieving an amazing lifestyle, but also serving as trusted leaders in an agile workplace. And I know that might sound a bit like, wow, this is too much for the next 40 minutes or so. But I have clients who actually have made this transformation, and I really watched it first row, so to say. And I would like to show you today what I call the first shift, the 5 shifts that you need to make to really set that foundation for high performance or for becoming a high performance leader. In terms of like who I am, I think Mahua has covered all the essential things in there. I always love to emphasize that I think there is one part in me that comes from an academic background. There's a big part in me that comes from a corporate world. So all the ladies out there, if you're in a corporate world, I always say I do speak corporate-ish. I also speak startup-ish, like, the things that are in the corporate world, they're different as well in the startup world. We all know this. I've seen both worlds. And I think this is really what I can bring to the table. In addition to being a mom, being a family manager, I think especially for us ladies, career is one thing, but there is a second part in life. We'll cover that later a bit as well. And I always see, that it's a combination of those that you need to bring to the table. And if you just miss out on the one or the other, or whether it's academics or career or your personal life, it won't get you to high performance. So I don't want to repeat about my background. Yes, I've been traveling and working very internationally in the corporate world as well as in the startup world. I have a background in business as well as in psychology. And I really try with my company, Brain and Spa, I try to bring those two worlds together so they get a real optimum. Now, having said that, there is a few house rules that I would like to discuss with you today, actually, or that I'd like to mention here before we dive into the content. Well, the first one is that high performers, like true high performers, they're really focused. So I'm asking you right now to give this a try for the next 30 minutes and try to avoid really distraction. So do me a favor, put your mobile phone on mute or on flight mode, close your social media, all your chats, close your mailbox for a moment. And believe me, I fully trust that you will survive being not distracted for a couple minutes. It's a good thing. The second thing I want to point out here is that what I'm going to tell you about the 5 shifts for becoming a high performance leader is really not about seeing a miracle happen. So if you think, and I know probably you don't, but just mentioning that up front is if you watch a webinar like this and you imagine that afterwards, you get some ideas and some tips or tricks, and then just a miracle happens, well, guess what? That won't be the case. So you have to be really committed and willing to take steps and to make change happen in order to see the progress that I can show you what high performers really have and what they enjoy. And the last thing here in terms of house rules is really, if you are in your career or in your current life, whatever that is, your 100% lifestyle, and you are there because you're either lazy or you consider yourself just an average person, or you're just not willing to put enough effort into where you want to be, or you're not good at what you're doing, well, guess what? Then all these shifts won't help you get much further. And I assume that the Star and Me network ladies, you are the exact opposite from what I just described. So if you really want to go somewhere, I feel like hopefully I can trust that you are a committed crowd who really wants to know where to go. And I guess you really want to see that potential that you have inside yourself, and it's there. You want to have that potential shine and rise. And this is, I think, one of the things when you hear the 5 shifts I'm going to share with you in a second, keep that in mind, right? It's not a miracle, and it's about you being an expert somehow to say, yes, I'm experienced and I am there because I'm committed and I'm giving my best every day. Okay, so let's get started and do a little deep dive in maybe if something like this sounds a bit like you. Do you sometimes lay awake at night in bed and you think yourself why you ended, or you consider or you think about why you actually ended up where you are with a job that just takes 10 to 12 hours every day, including or excluding travel and commute, and you might just feel a little bit like burning out yourself. Or have you sometimes, secretly reinforced your limiting beliefs about over and over again feeling defeated instead of really taking the necessary actions to move up to your ideal dream life? Or, maybe sometimes you feel stuck and maybe sometimes stuck within your own company, or sometimes stuck with the boss that holds up some management practices from the 90s, or it's just not very much in favor of a diverse leadership workforce here, and not really much in favor of the ladies. And you feel like your true skill set, the thing that gets you excited and thriving, it's just not seen. And maybe, sometimes there are these quiet moments, at least my clients tell me about them, when you just see yourself and then you look at your mailbox and there's 1,000 other to-dos on your to-do list. Again, it's all full of what I call chicken stuff, and you just miss family stuff and family time or family dinner again. And I think, those are the things, the voices I hear from my clients, what they tell me, like the first time we meet. These are kind of like the core things that I always hear, even from high performing leaders, to say, okay, in total, if you sum it up, it's really sometimes people, even people that show up in my world and who want to work and improve their performance, they sometimes feel very strung out and let down in their current ecosystem, in their current sphere. And they sometimes have serious doubt if they will ever come closer to their high performance level. And obviously it's the dream life that they want to, or that they're looking for, right? So if any of that sounds like you, well, then here's the good news. None of those things, I was just trying to explain, the voices I gave you from my clients, from people, from top level leaders I've worked with, none of those things are the real problem. They are just the symptoms. And the real problem is really simply one thing, and it's basically that you have not yet heard or made the shifts. And we're going to cover and talk about these shifts right in a second. But before we talk about the shifts, I want you to understand how high performance leaders, how they really feel once they've achieved what we have there. So once you made the shift towards more high performance in your life, you will be in the driver's seat again. You will be basically, creating a schedule that really includes everything that's important for you. Could be playtime with your kids, could be, romantic weekends with your spouse, could be things just for yourself, for your body, something good. You will also get up in the morning, and high performers, they do get up, they feel passionate, and they're really excited for the day ahead of them, and they're super energized and ready to rock the world. And what else I can see with many high performers, what's happening to them once they start making this shift is that they were really, they realize that they are 10 times more productive. And obviously that's something that reflects towards their clients, their team members, their family members as well. And especially with family, all of a sudden family gets really proud of seeing you thrive and seeing you be really powerful and productive. And last but not least, I think it's really, worrying about their skill set or letting their limiting beliefs control them. That's a thing of the past for high performers. So they really understand the game plan that's needed to lift them up and to enjoy, I would call it a true transformation or a transition. Okay, so let me get started with the 5 shifts. I hope up to now everything is good. I see more and more people joining. So welcome to all the ladies who joined the last couple minutes. There will be a recording, so just in case you missed the first part. But I think we are getting into the good stuff now. So stay tuned. Now, the first shift I want to make you aware of is what I call commit to positivity. Now, commit to positivity means, as it says here, it's about putting that smile on your face in very simple terms. So we know from tons of scientific research that smiling, that's really that natural big smile, that this is not only a sign of a positive mood, but it's also very good for your health, and it really lowers your stress level. So it's contagious. It's like taking a positive perspective on life will most likely cause you to smile, and thus it might, cause other people to mirror your behavior. And obviously then, if everybody's smiling, hey, what else can you ask for? Then the world is just a brighter place, and it's just more fun to live in. taking on positivity is really critical, because it impacts not only your, well, basically not only the way you behave and you feel for yourself, but it really impacts your well-being, as it encourages the release of serotonin. It's kind of like an endorphins, you know, the funny stuff in our body that makes us happy and feel good and healthy. So, you know, it's even important to smile for your immune system. Believe me, there's been really studies out there when they show how much important it is that you smile, if you have a smile on your face, and what that means to your body. Now, the truth is that people actually do see sometimes the glass more empty than full. And this is not how we really want to approach life, because obviously, you know, things are positive, and committing to positivism means, hey, the glass is at least half full. Another thing where if, you know, this positive glow is on your face, ask yourself, what does that tell, let's say, your boss? What does that tell your teammates? What does that tell your clients? If you just approach them with that smile on your face. And of course, they will feel much more attracted. They see confidence, they see happiness, and they see health and a very powerful person, a very powerful charisma in front of them. And if you have that friendly face, then obviously what happens is that the law of reciprocity basically means that you're getting what you're giving. So if I smile in your face, and obviously I can't see all your cameras right now, but I truly believe that some of you had felt this little thing like makes the ends of your mouth go up. You know, I hope nobody sits here like really grumpy in a bad mood, right? So committing to positivity, it sounds very simple, but at the end of the day, it's part of the biggest things for especially high performing leaders, to set that spirit, that positive spirit. And yeah, it's basically reduced to a simple thing like a smile, but it does a lot to your own body, but also to your environment and the people within your team or in your client or in your family. Now, the second shift I'm looking forward to is what I call don't allow others to judge you. Now, I grew up in the corporate world, and most of you probably are familiar with the corporate world and with the fact that people do judge you on your performance, right? So there are annual performance review processes in any good HR department. There is annual talks, there is 360 feedbacks, and you know, all the other funny things that we have out there in the HR and the talent management world. Now, what these techniques and methods do, though, is they try to measure you personally, against a scaling system that somebody else created for you. I always say it's like a box. If you look at a hierarchical, like an org structure drawing, you have all these little boxes in there. And basically what happens is that by the time you get judged by 360, for example, you get judged against the scaling system and against the box somebody else created for you. Well, I know from dozens of high performers, high performing leaders, they don't want to be judged in order to fit into a box. They want to create their own box. Now, I'm not saying go quit your job and start your own company like many of us maybe have done in the past or are thinking about. I think the question is just, are you capable of defining your own box? Are you in that box on purpose? Did you co-create that box for yourself, or was somebody else who actually created that box for you, and you just allow others to judge you whether you fit inside or you don't fit inside that thing? And this is really something very important from a high performance perspective, is that you really need to, well, somehow, get in that driver's seat, what I call, to understand and to reflect, where am I right now? Am I allowing others to judge me and to evaluate how good or how bad I am doing, regardless of whether this is in your private life, in your very personal life, in sports, or even in your career, obviously? Or am I in the lead, defining what I want, where I want to go, which box I'm going to approach, and then I'm happy to judge for myself whether I made it or I've not made it. So I think it's really a switch in the way you approach it. I'm not saying, any feedback or 360 is a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, go back and ask yourself, maybe after that webinar, and reflect and say, okay, am I allowing others to judge me and my performance? And do I actually attach my emotional well-being to that performance review? Or am I aware of what I can do and I judge my own life and my own, holistic perspective first. And once I do that, I can obviously have much better understanding whether the box works for me or not. So I hope that is clear for you. Now, the third thing, yeah, and I think we've really covered also what I have on the next slide here, is about, as I said, it's about controlling your own life, and it's really about, and yeah, maybe that's an important part to point out here, is it's about that self-confidence muscle that we need to build. And I know we are all, leading ladies, we are top performing ladies, there's executives amongst you, you have team lead experience, you've made it to where you are today, and I hope you're very proud of where you are today. If not, then just take a second and clap yourself on your shoulder and say, hey, it's cool where I am today. Nevertheless, always make sure you build that confidence muscle inside your own body, so to say, and really sharpen your instinct for what you want, for really getting into that driver's seat. Okay. So this was the second shift that I see many high performers do extremely well. They're crystal clear of what they want. They're so much in the driver's seat. Yes, every once in a while we need to have sacrifices. This is clear. Life is not always on the peak. There's also sometimes valleys, but it's a question of who is the judge and who is the one being judged, and towards which system or towards which box or against which box are you judged. Okay. So the next thing, and the third shift, is one of the biggest ones for me, and I will explain in a second why this is. So this is why I call it the secret weapon. Now, in what I call the old world, when you wanted to learn something new, when you wanted to change something, when you really wanted to go towards high performance, becoming a high performance leader, you actually, what is it that you had to do? Well, you had to attend some special school, you had to go maybe take an additional degree, read lots of books, practice over months or maybe even years, go to rehearsals or some kind of master classes or study programs. For sure, you have to put in lots and lots of hours, and probably also lots and lots of extra money. And if you've done that, if you've done these kind of what I call classical trainings in the old world, well, that didn't help much for becoming a high performer, because these trainings, these content pieces, they are never really tailor-made to your very personal need. And I think this is clear. You cannot be a general high performer. Being a high performance leader, being a high performer is something very personal. I have a different level of what I'm capable of doing and what I want to do compared to every single one of you who is joining this webinar today. And in the old world, so these content pieces, I don't want to call them courses, but they were not really tailored for your very personal needs. And they were also way too slow to keep up with the expectations of real high performers. And, sometimes they just distracted you because they didn't fit in your schedule, or they were just too expensive. Or, many of these things are just loaded with content that you really don't need. And yeah, worst of all, they just take away time from your life that you actually were supposed to be spending on something else. So in the new world, when you want to learn something, and I call this the third shift here, the secret weapon, because what you really want to have for becoming a high performance leader is you want to have a proven system. You want to have something that is truly created for high performers and that covers really all the essential ingredients, and it's tailored to your needs. It's nothing like the general thing that works for almost everybody. That how is that in business? There is not one company that can do all products for all kinds of people. No, it's about the niche. It's about the very specific thing that makes a difference. And of course, if you want to learn something new, it's something, or you probably look for something that gets the results fast, right? We live in a digital times, things are just moving really fast. There's a high pace. So you want to have something that gets you close to high performance, that gets you there in a fast way. Now, in the new world, what you want to focus on is really no detours. And so the third shift is really what I call the Be Me. And Be Me is basically what I call a proven system. And we've created the Be Me system to cover all the essential ingredients that bring you close to high performance. So Be Me stands for the core 4 essentials of high performance. The B as in your body, the E as in emotions, the M as in mind, like, your brain level, and the E as being the second E as in executive career. And it's really over years, having worked with many, many high performing leaders or to be high performing leaders, those four are actually essential. And we found out that it's not a question if you can master one very well and the others are kind of, yeah, let's just not talk about it. No, true high performing leaders are people who look at those core four, as I call them, holistically. They look at them in a kind of like in a merged version. And so let's just give you an example. I had a client who was just extremely well working on her executive career. I mean, she was like a hockey stick career, you know, but she felt so lonely. Like her emotional side was a complete mess. Her body, I don't want to say was a mess, that would be impolite, but it was really, really not in shape at all. I'm not just talking about physical shape, but health-wise. And now obviously what she has done is just working on one part of being a high performer, and she's done a great job there, but she neglected all the others. And the key message here on this third shift is really be me. If you want to be a high performer, you're going to be, you know, the whole version, and you really have to make sure that you do not only work on your body or on your career or on your emotions or just on your brainwaves and your mind, but that you work on the essential pieces all together. And I think this is really critical if you want to create high performance. I see so many people just focusing on one thing because they think, you know, it's just about focus. No, on a long time horizon, high performance always needs to cover all four of the be me. And so it's really what I mentioned earlier. The Be Me system is kind of created for these high power executive women or professional women like we are in this call, who I always say we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, and we want to work towards our dream lifestyle. That's probably everything. That's not just career, but there's also personal life where I say, this is the dream I want to achieve, but I don't want to give up passion and productivity and drive, but I want to do this with balance and ease. And this is really the core essence of the Be Me system. And if just a couple more comments here on Be Me, because maybe some of you might ask yourself, like, how does it look like? Well, Be Me is actually, it's not complicated. It's very simple, and it really, the intention is to create a tool, or as I call it, a system that works for the busy schedule of us powerful ladies here. So there is some sort of what I call a foundation program within Be Me, where you really start to declutter your mental mess, where you start to fix any missing pieces, where you learn how to resharpen your laser focus. You know, this is a very funny thing to work on, and also how to attack what I call the energy vampires, those things that always take away your energy. So this is like the foundation work. And once you've done that, obviously there is additional, very individualized work to make sure where you have your biggest potential, where you want to go, and allow you to shine through that specific channel. And I think the good news for you ladies here today is that Mahua and I, we've talked about this before, and we will offer the foundation program of Be Me as part of, or within the Star in Me platform. So I think after the webinar here, we are happy to share the link in the chat. So you can actually sign up for a 2-hour workshop where I will personally walk you through the Be Me core elements, the foundation elements that you need to cover before you can actually move on. It's kind of like, you know, when you put on makeup, ladies, you know that, right? If you don't do your foundation right, well, screw the lipstick and screw the eye things, it just doesn't work, you know? But if you get the foundation right, obviously you can make a really nice looking makeup out of your already smiling face, right? So I think the good news is really, and I encourage you, if high performance is really something that you are up for, give it a try and join the workshop. As I said, you know, Mahua will share the link in the chat afterwards. And the workshop is the foundation that works on all four of them to get you sorted out and get you straightened out on what's important. And then we obviously take it from there to see what is it that you need individually after that foundation is being done. Okay. So quick recap. We've had the first 3 shifts. We've spoken about the importance of committing to positivity, putting that smile on your face, and making sure that obviously this has an impact on your environment, the people you interact with. We've also spoken about others who are judging you and how much of important it is that you do not allow others to judge you in terms of like making sure you are in the driver's seat. It's fine to get some feedback, but the judgment is always ours, right? And the last thing, the secret weapon, the shift number 3 is about be me, about that. I call it the holistic version of high performance, about body, emotion, mind, and executive career, that you really need to work on all 3 of them. So these are the first 3 ones. We will walk through the other the other 2 ones that are still missing. But before doing so, give me a quick sign in the chat if that's valuable for you. If you like what you're hearing, if you can relate to the one or the other thing. I would just ask a little feedback from the 20 plus ladies in the house here today. Give me a little sign if you're still there. I barely can see anybody on video here, but just a quick sign if things are moving right for you. Yes, very valuable. I appreciate it. I get a thumbs up. Thank you. Cool. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Anisha. Thank you, Aditi. Great. Okay, so I will, yes, all the yeses coming in. This is cool. Very, very nice. Thank you, ladies. It's always great. You know, we spend time, I spend my time, you spend your time. So at least it must be valuable, right? Alrighty, so are you ready for the next 2 shifts that we are still missing? Okay. Now, here is one I think you might find a bit funny. I call it speed up your calendar. Now, what does that mean? And as I said, I know it sounds funny, but it's like the clue that holds all together. And normally in other programs, they don't address that very proactively. But we know from our expertise, and even with international top-level executives, I've seen that speeding up the calendar is so critical to succeeding, to really becoming a high performer. And I really want to take a couple minutes here to explain what I mean with speeding up your calendar. So I think for sure you have had in your career, maybe lately or maybe several years ago, you've had all kinds of time management trainings, and you probably have a structure to your calendar. And I assume you structure your days of the week a bit different than your weekend days. And maybe you have certain time blocks in your calendar where you say, hey, here's where I'm doing international calls, or here's where I'm doing emails, or here's where I'm doing meetings, or, you know, maybe you have some agreement with your executive assistant to say, hey, this is how we structure the days and the weeks. And this is all good. And the thing is, probably if you look into your calendar, and feel free to do that little exercise after the webinar, if you look into the next, let's just say 4 weeks, I'm pretty sure if you're a busy person, that every day is just filled with 7, 6, 8, maybe 10 hours of to-dos. You know, they're all in there, they show up. So what happens is that actually your calendar, what's in your calendar is what I call is dictating what you do and what you focus on, right? So chances are high, as I just said, that your entire work week calendar is, you know, it's like 5 out of 7 days is blocked and fully stuffed with 8 to 10 hours each day. During those hours, you really try to get as much work done as possibly, right? That's what we think high performers do. But what you actually should do is you should manage your limiting beliefs and dedicate time to things that you really want to do because they get you closer to your bigger goals. Now, not only for your career, but I was just talking about the be me, body, emotion, mind, and executive career. So what I mean with getting you closer to your goals is I would expect from a high-performing leader, high-performing lady, I actually wanted to say, that you have an idea of what is high performance in terms of your body, in terms of your emotions, in terms of your mind, brain work, and in terms of your executive career. And if your calendar is just filled with stuff that reflects 1 out of the core 4, guess what? That's not very much in balance, and it won't get you to high performance. So speeding up your calendar really means that you need to make sure that all the elements that you need to take care of find a space in your calendar. It's funny, I just, last week, I'm working with a female board member of a very multinational insurance company. And we've been working together for several months now. And I'm her sparring partner. And I think it was really last week or 2 weeks ago, she came to me and she said, listen, I'm really frustrated because it feels that, you know, I'm just not really good on my emotional side, families and friends, especially with friends. I feel like I'm completely lost. I'm detached from my friends. I lost them. I'm like, well, and we sat together, and the first thing I always did is I said, well, her name is Susanna. I said, Susanna, can you open up your calendar for a second? And we looked through her calendar for about 4 weeks. There wasn't a single time slot reserved for friends or for family, not even family, but that's a different story. So let's just stick with the easier ones on friends. So there was no time for friends, and there was no time reserved for friends. How come that she feels like detached from her lady group, from her, best buddies. And I think this is something very important that I always see high performance leaders somehow stumble over, that your calendar is kind of like dictating your life, but your calendar reflects just one part of your high performance life. This is most likely your career, your appointments, but it does not reflect your, I call it the non-career elements, the body, emotion, and the mind element. So this is really important, that you understand that speeding up your calendar doesn't mean you need to squeeze the meetings or you need to just, make your meetings run faster. No, speeding up your calendar really means that your calendar is such a powerful tool. It needs to reflect all areas of high performance. Okay. Now the fifth one is the fifth shift we're talking about today is what I call invest in the best body. Now the term body for me here really refers more to what I call a sparring partner. It's somebody a person you trust and who really accompanies you on a journey, who's like an accountability buddy for you. So this fifth shift might sound actually very common, but it's always overlooked. And believe me, I've worked with quite a few people in the corporate and the startup world. They all say, yeah, I have a mentor and I have this and I have that, and we have a mentoring system. But if you look at it, if it works and the way it's supposed to be working, mentoring is not meeting each other over a coffee once a quarter. Or a buddy, a sparring partner is really somebody who is there for you, who helps you take challenging perspectives, and who wants the best for you, and who doesn't have a hidden agenda on his or her own mind, but is somebody who says, yes, I'm here for you, I care for you. So let me ask you this. When was the last time that you were curious about learning a special skill, for example? So let's just say, I love to cook. I love Austrian dishes. So let's just say I wanted to learn how to cook, how to be a really good cook. Now, obviously, I could either go online and get some YouTube videos, some courses, maybe buy some cookbooks, or I could do something completely different. I could actually go out there, go to a very nice restaurant, and ask the chef personally to show me how to do some recipes that I really like. Now, guess what? The person who would do the YouTube videos, she might just find out how things work eventually. The person with the cookbook, well, hopefully she got a good cookbook, but she does to do the reading and all the experience, and maybe there's 1,000 recipes in there she doesn't need. And then there's me, if I was smart enough to go to the chef personally, who becomes my buddy in this case, my sparring partner. I would even ask him maybe to join me in my kitchen with my kitchen equipment, to show me things I want to learn, then obviously I'm making progress really fast, and it's focused on my needs. It's focused on what I need, where I am. Maybe I need to learn how to cut some things in a different way. Maybe I'm already good at that. And he says, wow, this is cool. But the way I decorate some stuff is just awful for a professional chef. So whatever it is, if I have that personal partner next to me, the person I can trust because he's probably done it more than I have, then this is what I refer to here as investing in the best body. And I think it's really whenever you have a personal, I call it a guide almost, on a journey, if you have a guide next to you showing you exact things that make the difference, that take you, in my case, just much faster to a top level cooking skill performance, right? And again, this is just an example, but I think you can get what I try to explain with investing in the best body here. If you do that, you're just not wasting precious lifetime, but you get right to the point. And as I sometimes say, some people even say it's like paying for the shortcut, right? So I hope you understand what that means. And I think especially in the business world, what we see with this fifth shift, with this investing in the best body, is many leaders, even top level leaders, they still think they can do it themselves. You know, they're, I'm good, I've learned this, I've had like 2 MBAs, and yeah, I'm just good, and I have a good friend who sometimes challenges me on big ideas. But that's not the point. And ladies, I really need to be super clear on this one here. It doesn't work. It has never worked. It is not working right now. It will never work. We as human beings, the way we learn, I don't like the word learn because many of us don't have a very positive connotation to learn, but the way we get some new experience, let me put it this way, is by interacting with other human beings who are not telling us what to do, but who are trying to look through our lenses and to, you know, take our perspective. And by doing so, they can merge it with their understanding and give us the right questions and show us the right ways, basically, how we can actually take the next step. And I think this is really important. And I was, a couple of years back, I was working with an Olympic gold medalist. And it was so funny because one day we had a very funny coffee conversation. And it was exactly on this investing in the best body, as I put it here as the 5th shift. And this guy said to me, like, you know what, it's really funny with you business people. You think you can do everything all by yourself. You know, even becoming a leader is like, ooh, I'm a leader. There is not a second and a third next to me. No, I am the one. And if I'm a leader, hey, I know everything, right? I know I'm exaggerating a bit here. But he said in the business, in the sports world, he would not be able to live without all his buddies, like whether it's a medical professional, whether it's a coach, whether it's a brain trainer, whether it's the guy who takes part of his equipment, like in this case was a skiing division. So for him, it's crystal clear that he needs a team that's not part of his own company, but a team around him with special expertise that really support him. And I truly say with top performance, high performance leaders, this is what they have. They have, apart from their peer levels and apart from their direct feedback from their team, they have a trusted buddy, a sparring partner, call it a coach, but someone they reflect with on a continuous basis, just because making sure there is interaction, there is reflection on their daily decisions. And I think this is, as I said, this is in many cases so much overlooked. And as I put it on the slide over here, as you can see, it's really sometimes it feels like sometimes paying for the shortcut for the learnings that others already had before you. And I think this is, well, in a smart way, this is fair to do, right? There's learnings others done or others have made. So why not making sure that you get these ideas and improvements as well? Alrighty, ladies. So those were the 5 shifts. And my promise earlier to you today was to really give you a view behind the curtains of high performance leaders. And especially their mindsets and the way they start changing. It's a transformation. And the 5 shifts that I've covered today with you, and I have them on the slide here again, the committing to positivity, the not allowing others to judge you, the secret weapon about be me, the be me approach of body, emotion, mind, and executive career, the 4th shift about speeding up your calendar, and last but not least, the 5th one, investing in the best body. I think those are really the core things to get you started towards high performance. And you know, the next step would be really then to, if you're committed enough, to take the next level and to really make sure that you are going up on the next career ladder, or not career ladder, but on the next level of high performance. And now you have a choice, obviously, right? There is a very famous Austrian psychologist. His name was Viktor Frankl. And from him, I took my most favorite quote, and it's between stimulus and response, you have the freedom to choose. And I think this is very important. Nobody can force you to becoming a high performance leader. And it's fine if you just take whatever you've heard today and like, oh, this is nothing for me, thank you, goodbye. But I trust that there's a few ladies in the room who say, oh, this is cool. I think I can do parts of this, and I want to learn more. I want to understand. Now, what I can offer you, and I think I've mentioned it earlier, one part is that Mahua will just, share the link where you can sign up for the workshop, where we cover much more details about the foundation work of Be Me. The other thing I can offer to you, and I just wanted to give you a little goodie for all the ladies who stayed all the way to the end, that I blocked some time in my calendar for making sure that you, as a participant of this webinar, that you get a chance to talk to me personally, and we define the exact steps that you need to take from wherever you are today towards becoming a really high performance leader in a time frame that's doable and that's appreciated of you. So I think this is something, and I always get the question why I do this. This is just taking so much time. No, I blocked some time, and I really just encourage the ones of you who are committed. I will share the link right here. So this is the link you can click on, or you just scan the QR code. I'm happy to see you block some time in my calendar, and we figure it out. And the reason I'm doing this is actually very simple. I do this because I love to give back. Several years ago and still now, I've always had the pleasure of having great buddies or sparring partners or coaches along my way. And I think one thing is really for me, being a female leader, being an entrepreneur, that I just want to see more of the cool ladies up there. I want to see more of the cool ladies out there. And this is, I think, my share of making sure that there are more of us can actually enjoy healthy high performance, as I say. So yeah, I think that's it on my side on the 5 shifts. I truly hope